Is that Frieza?
His transformation's complete. He's coming into view.
That's Frieza's true form? It's so small and compact, but it's intense.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die.
I get up from the ground, from the man from is keeping it down, and it's time to decide on the action that will force the tide. And I feel that I can win. On the man's I'm starting to spin, starting over once again.
Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is the show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. Oh man, I was working on a show. I had all intents of recording it, and I think I'm still recording it. I'm still thinking about the outline, but there were some things that ended up happening. Primarily today's topic, and so I was just like, oh no, we got to talk about this definitely since we're dealing with broadcast happening yesterday as the time of recording, and also the WizKids ruling, which is complete shenanigans, and so I think it's best for everyone to go ahead. Get your coffee, your tea, maybe even a little bit of haterade. Get that haterade going. I know I'm not usually about that hateration, that holleration in this dancery, but we're gonna keep it percolating while you're waiting. My soldiers dance for me. For folks that don't know that, okay. But anyway, so what's today's topic? I know I had the the Frieza Dragon Ball Z intro of the coinage of like, this is not even my final form type of thing, and that's what we're dealing with the Watcher. The Watcher is coming in there from that Disney Plus and saying, this is not even your final form. And that's a little bit frustrating. And I find that to be an issue. And in particular, how they ruled it. Now, I know some of you are like, what? Dark Logos? What do you mean? This is not even my final form. Yes, it comes down to how, let's just say, it is looked at. So let's do some various levels of due diligence here. So first and foremost, it's number 44 Watcher. Yeah, number 44 Watcher from Disney Plus. He got Presto Changeo Super Saiyan level 10 errated, and I know for some people they're going to be like, how did he get errated? And so what we're going to do is we're going to break into that because in all honesty, his errata is a bit dumb, because okay, so anyway, let's go into it. So if you go into Marvel Hero, you go to the erratas, and you go to Marvel heroclix, Marvel Studios, Disney Plus, the following ends up happening. So you go under number 44, The Watcher. It says, ponder the question, what if? That's his trait. At the beginning of the game, roll d6 and give the Watcher a number of what if tokens equal to half the results. Power, remove a what if token. If you do, replace an adjacent friendly character with a character of equal or less points from your sideline on its starting line. Now, this is important because previously when you would swap a character, it would have to be on the same click number in which it was replaced. This specifically, for I don't know what reason, says it start on its starting line. Don't know why you would do that, WizKids. We're back to the merge and swap debacle of the past. Yeah, just being honest. The replacement character must share a name with the replaced character. And so this leads us into our Super Saiyan Thanos problem. Or better yet, our Thanos saga problem. Because now all of a sudden I have 175 point Thanos with the home skillet Watcher in the back. And we're beating up Thanos. We got Thanos down to his next to last click. And Thanos says, "Not yet! Activate Soul and Time Gem." And then he does the hand signals from Naruto. He bamps back next to Watcher. Watcher touches his back and then Thanos says, "Behold," as the energy is flowing through him. He's like, "See the true strength of Thanos. Behold my final form, my final transformation." And so then he can turn into one of three different Thanoses that are modern legal, that are, in all honesty, not bad options. And then you're just looking at this massive block of frustration that you just had to pile through. And now you're dealing with a fresh Thanos. And so I first sit back and I wonder, who was high when they thought about this? Like who tested this errata? Was this the intent from the beginning? And what was wrong with the previous version? Because if the idea was you could replace a character on any click you wanted, then I would be like, no, we've clarified that in the past. All characters that swap onto the corresponding click. If you were like, hey, this Watcher, as it was, quote unquote, could potentially make it so that you could have a character show up on a vampire dial of some sort. And so we were concerned about that. Okay. All right. I can see that. So you should, in all honesty, present your outlining case. Okay. But the fact is that really wasn't the big deal, because I know some folks will be like, but did you see this character that has a vampire dial, and then now if it starts on the corresponding click, they come with this powered up character, and then all they have to say is in his lineup, characters that do not do not start on click 1 cannot be used for this effect. That's it. That's all you have to do. Characters that do not start on click 1 cannot be used for this effect. And what it does is you make it so that you can't swap out or into vampire dial clicks. And you also make it so that, let's just say you're running like low point Juggernaut from Days of Futures Past. You couldn't, a lower dial Juggernaut. you couldn't swap into top dial. What was it? House of X, I think it was. Juggernaut or Rise and Fall, one of the two. I forgot. So that in and of itself is an easy fix. There's questions of why didn't we do that, or just making it so that this is a beginning of the game effect, that all swaps have to happen at the beginning of the game, not just at any point in time during the game. Because if you're doing it at any point in time during the game, again, like I said, Thanos gets that soul gem and that time gem, and then he's like, with the might of my mighty infinity gauntlet. And it's like, dong, 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 dong. And it's like, I will show you my new final form. Ah! And, Watcher is the porta posse. And he comes back, he's like, yes, Thanos, that is true. I will help assist you and transfer my chi into you. Yeah, so that to a degree is stupid. Now, I know some folks will be saying, like, the Dark Logos, I'll just kill Watcher, which is legitimate. I'll just kill Watcher is a very, very good option. Definitely in a situation in which you have Thanos on Thanos action, because it's harder to hide Watcher. But I will make a statement. That is sometimes easier said than done. First and foremost, there's this magical power called Barrier, and there's also this other character, which is quite frustrating, called Bishop, who generates a shard, which causes the encounter to be a lot more closer if you start planning around this final form transformation. There are also more durable characters that can sort of stay in there and get your fight on, such as the Sarkarian. I can't pronounce it properly. So Sarkarian, Sarkeesian. That's why I just go with Simcard. So we got Simcard running around doing his job. So there are enough things that you can do to intercept or defend the Watcher, and I'm betting. Come to think of it, if we go into Golden Age, there's plenty of characters that grant Mastermind if you really want to do it. Let me see. Let me try to look for it. And this is something that just came off the top of my head. Nope. All right, so I'm going to open up to Golden because I know. All right, the phrase can't mastermind. All right, well, never mind. Let's go look for Mastermind because I know previously there was the one gentleman from Captain America that had the ability to mastermind, to grant mastermind. So I know what said it. Yeah, all right. Victor Mancha, because Victor Mancha has friendly characters can use mastermind. Friendly characters can use mastermind, but only to target Victor Mancha. So if you're playing a Golden Age event, or you want to just be annoying before everything, well, I think everything did retire out. There's him, and let's see, they're Batman the Animated Series. Like, those are the only ones that can use Mastermind, that give the friendly characters can use Mastermind. Yeah, but only to choose Superman. Yep. So there is, I think there's a map bonus that gives you Pogs so that you can grant Mastermind to them. You can Mastermind to the Pogs, which gives you a couple of turns, depending on your mobility and your placement game, to be really frustrating keeping yeah, keeping our lovely watcher alive. So let's sort of go deeper into that. Okay, and there is oh my all my HeroClix links are not working. Oh well. All right, so let's go take a walk down to the value corner. To quote Dial H for HeroClix. We're going to acmaps .net, and then we're going to, I think, I'm trying to remember what set it was from. I know it's an older set. I know it's not a rock map because rock maps can't have it. I think it is. Nope, it's not. Latvarian Village. Latvarian Village. Here we go. At the beginning of the game, choose friendly character. This game, this character has Mastermind, but only to choose a friendly Latvarian peasant bystander. At the beginning of the game, generate 3 Latvarian bystanders in different orange squares. If the chosen character is named Doctor Doom, generate 6 instead. So, then you have a constellation, which is at the beginning of your game, generate a Latvarian peasant bystander in your starting area. So that's really not that useful overall. But having a winning map and getting one of these bystanders is golden. Now, I know some people will say, okay, Dark Logos, this is a lot of setup. This figure is not that deep. People are going to, come in, lay into him, and then he's done. And I would say, yeah, you are correct. Most people are going to lean in deep with that punch and tell you to, stop looking at my internet history watcher and keep it moving. But I would like to point out is, are you really going to skip over Thanos to land that uppercut to Watcher? Because that's one more turn that he just has to lay into you. That is one more action. Thanos stays standing. And can you afford that? And therein lies the problem now. Because previously, in the whole Thanos matchup, you're spending your energy, bouncing around, instant transmissioning, trying to shoot those key bolts at Thanos and trying to get him off the map. And then the Porta Posse is coming back and trying to, help and assist Thanos. You got your own personal Ginyu force in some cases, trying to help Thanos as he scrunches and shoots, Ki Blast back at you with the power gem. But in this situation, you got a Boppity situation where, this goes from the Frieza saga to freaking Majin Buu saga. Okay. And yeah, the first part of the Buu arc, not the Kid Buu arc. No, that was too awesome for what's going on here. No, we're not dealing with Kid Buu. We're dealing with the Majin Buu, arc where Boppity shows up and, they got the mark of the Majin. And that's pretty much what's going on. You got to deal with the little wizard in the background. And the little wizard in the background is not strong. He is not awesome. But he's annoying enough that you can't ignore him because he's causing problems. So I find myself in the odd situation of looking deeper and asking them, are there other characters that I could final form? Are there other characters that are worth looking at in this swap? And then this is the other issue too, with the errata and all the, I would say, is hate that I am now placing on WizKid's name, is that you can get multiple transformation tokens. As long as this character is alive and kicking on your board, and the Watcher is alive and kicking on your board, you could just be like, nah, bruh. Nah. we're gonna get you that royal makeover that you wanted. So let's go look at Thanos real quick because I know I've sort of dragged it out and why it's frustrating. So again, you have to always replace a character. When you replace a character, it has to be of equal value. Now, if you KO the other forms of Thanos, you will get the 175 points because that does transfer over. But when their lower point appears, you can't swap into like a higher point Thanos or have like a second, Thanos on your sidelines. Okay. Actually, let's look at that errata again. Let's really look at that. Like, okay, at the beginning of the game, roll a d6 to watch your number of tokens. Okay, so let's just say in this situation we roll 2 what if tokens. Remove a what if token if you do. Replace adjacent friendly character with a character of equal or less points from your sideline. And I think Thanos is unique. I think the Elite Thanos is unique. Yes, he is unique. So he's got silver tag. So he is unique. So that's important. Yeah, that is very, very important. Yeah, he is silver tag. All right. So understanding that Thanos is now a big player in this situation, we got a couple of things to look at. So the first one that we're going to be looking at is first thing that we're going to be looking at is the prize support Thanos. I'm not prize support, the Elite Thanos that comes with Ghost Rider, and this is Punisher Thanos. Now, why would you pick up Punisher Thanos? Well, let's look at him. My father's legacy continued. Colossal stamina. This is classic colossal stamina, so he can keep pushing. So he's throwing hands until he dies. When Thanos KOs a character after resolutions, heal him 1 click and remove 1 of his action tokens. Yeah, he has dual targets, so he can always be shooting pogs and getting more and more powerful over time because he just keeps this engine of destruction going. Submit to punishment, probability control. Free, choose an opposing character within range and line of fire and give them the punishment token. Maximum 1. The character with the punishment token can't use probability control, and attacks they make or targeting them. Probability control and attacks they make or targeting them can't be re-rolled except by Thanos' probability control. So if you're like, yo, I'm going to put this punishment token on my opponent's Thanos, then yeah, they can't use prob or have the attacks that are targeting them re-rolled. When Thanos deals damage to that character after resolutions, remove the punishment token. So is that useful? Yes. Is it the greatest? No. Is it keeping you in the fight? Yes. You're 8 clicks in with Power Cosmic, so you're not getting out with it. So you're able to maintain your, let's just say, a bit of durability and a bit of punch through power. All right. So are we if you're dealing with a situation where your opponent is still engaging you in some sort of a range fight or a range fight is viable, this is okay. This is not the final thing that you want to be thinking about, but it is useful. All right. So at 150 points, this is not bad. But let's go into our next Thanos, which would be the War of the Realms Thanos. This Thanos, in my opinion, is a little bit better because, for one thing, we're getting a little bit more life out of him because for the Punisher Thanos, we got 8 clicks. For this Thanos, we have 9 clicks. So one of the first things that we want to try to think about is what's our main advantage with this Thanos. Now, the first one is bolts. We get 3 targets with this Thanos, whereas with Punisher Thanos, we only have 2. The next thing that we want to think about is the fact that we're coming out laying down that big 5 damage. We're laying down that big 5 damage, whereas other Thanos, we're not doing that. The War of the Realms, Thanos. We're starting off with that 5 damage. All right, we also have improved targeting so that we can target out of adjacency, and so that's pretty useful too. And your first 3 clicks are very straightforward. You're that running shot, side blast dude, and trying to frustrate your opponent. And then you change into a charge, close combat expert game, which in my opinion is not as great. You have a trait which gives you functionally all of the Infinity Gauntlet, all of the Infinity Gauntlet stones, like your Elite Thanos, but they're weaker. And that to me is a huge like, what? Why did you do that? Because there's only really a 25-point difference. And you could have, to a degree, somewhat cut and paste half of the abilities that the other Thanos had, but they didn't. So, for example, you have Mind Gem. After resolutions, Thanos may use Mind Control as free, but only to target hit characters regardless of line of fire. So that would be good. Power, increase the damage dealt by 1 to each hit target. So that can be good, definitely when you're multi-targeting. To get a little bit extra oomph out of that, So you top click, you hit 2, you hit 2 targets, you deal 3 and 2, so one's going to take 4, the other one's going to take 3. That's a lot of damage dealt out in a turn. So, yeah, like, also if you had like an energy explosion too, that could be pretty big. If you're able to grant him energy explosion. Also, if you're able to give him mystics, because it's the damage dealt by Thanos. So mystics would work. Energy explosion would also be another kicker. What else could be? I feel like I'm missing something obvious. Pulse wave. Pulse wave, yeah. Pulse wave could probably be the most devastating because of pulse wave. He could pulse wave for 2. So yeah. Next up is reality. After resolutions, you may generate a hindering, blocking, or water terrain marker in a square adjacent to a hit character. That used to be a lot better. That's really not that good now. It should have just gave you a perplex or perplex. Anyway, after resolutions, heal Thanos 2 clicks with your soul. So getting him to do multiple actions or finding a way of granting him multiple actions, because it just says after resolutions, heal Thanos 2 clicks. Like, you could do whatever as long as it's not clearing. So yeah. But you do have to hit to get any of these. So, anyway, let's keep going. Space. After resolutions, you may place a hit. So never mind, you couldn't do it with Mystic, so I was wrong on that. So you couldn't do the increased damage with Mystics. Anyway, so going back to space. After resolutions, you may place a hit character in a square within 5 squares of their current square. That one is actually good. I just think a lot of people don't understand how good that can be, considering that if you roll, you triple target and you roll space, you can move 3 characters into 5 separate situations and just screw over your opponent, because you don't have to deal damage to trigger that effect. So you're always beneficial using Thanos to always try to target 3 characters. Because Space Gem is just worth it. Until the end of your next turn, Thanos can use probability control with time. And he uses probability control, and opposing characters can't use probability control, which is by far the strongest. And does it give you a 1-to-1 parity with your Elite Thanos? The answer is no. But what it does do is present to you a Thanos that has enough suite of options to be useful to you in your into your mid to late game. All right. So, what would be our last Thanos? So we have Captain Thanos from Empire. And Captain Thanos is pretty good because we're getting a full dial of options. And this is the real issue that I think comes into play is if you are swapping Thanos out at that stage of the game, you're at least 15. I mean, at earliest 15 minutes in my opinion, unless your team is like super aggressive and you're able to just drop ship and hit people with a bunch of stuff. And I mean, hit Thanos with a bunch of hits like it's in game. And except Thanos doesn't have the army behind him. It's just Thanos and the portals are coming in. Okay, if you were able to do something like that, then yeah, I can see you one-turning a Thanos real quick and, Bob's your uncle. But when we're talking about this trick with the Watcher, what are you trying to do? You're trying to buy time and deny your opponent energy. And more importantly, what you're saying to their last possibly 3 to 4 turns, screw you, you just wasted your time. So this Thanos comes in at 8 clicks. He has full dial charge running shot. Just full dial charge running shot. That's important. If Thanos has a control token, so this is your you challenge me to a contest of death. Charge, running shot. If Thanos has a control token once per turn, when Thanos attacks after resolutions, another friendly character within 4 squares with the Avengers keyword can make an attack. Now, why is this okay? Okay, well, first of all, we're not going to have any other Avengers on our team unless we're running, SIM card. Okay. But you only get a control token if an Avenger died. Okay, so that part is not going to help us because we're not running him and Scarlet Witch or him and, no, that guy retires. I'm trying to think. Him and Black Widow or something, or him and Captain America. That's not happening. All right, let's be 100. All right, when it comes to Avengers, we're only going to primarily just see Iron Man sitting there chilling, okay? Next, we have the Avengers assemble leadership, probability control. Leadership realistically doesn't matter as much at this phase of the game as more of the probability control. If Thanos has a control token, which he more than likely will not, but let's say he does, when he uses leadership, friendly characters with the Avengers keyword modify the following combat values based on his leadership role until your next turn. 2 through 3, +1 attack. 4 through 5, +1 damage. 6, +1 attack and damage. Now, why is this a big deal? Now, again, if your SIM card is alive during this point and let me phrase it. He's not alive. He was alive when the transformation happened, and then he died. And Thanos has his control token. He can buff himself because it says friendly characters, which he's friendly to himself, with the Avenger keyword modify the combat value. So he could just come in and be like, "Well, I rolled a 3. I have a 13 attack. Sucks to suck for you." I rolled a 4 or 5. I now hit for 5 damage. I rolled a 6. Yeah, I have a power gem. Like, let's go. So you still factor in, like, does he have a lot of damage reduction? Yes. Is he power cosmic? Yes. Can he keep the light on for you? Maybe not, but he does have a 1 square further range than the other options for Thanos that we are presented with. And so what are we looking at? We're looking at someone that can just dip. He has a 12 movement. He is just out of there. That brother gone. Okay, the Avengers War of the Realms, he has 12 movements for a lot of clicks, and then we go look at Punisher Thanos. In terms of movement, his movement is a little bit lackluster. You get too addicted to riding on the bike, you don't do the cardio, things can go south. You lose a little bit of function, so you got to compensate somewhere else. All right, this Thanos is a stick and move Thanos, and the fact that you have all the options, whether you're doing a range game or a melee game with this Thanos, it's important because you're not stuck like what is it? The War of the Realms Thanos. Just either in a ranged or a melee game, or you're just dealing with what your movement power is. And you're more likely going to be more on a melee game with that Thanos than you are in a range game. This is a flexible Thanos. Okay, so overall, why is this? Why are we looking at these options? And the reason why I'm saying we're looking at these options is, one, I think you need to be honest and say, all right, if Watcher rolls this thing twice, once this transformation happens, Watcher cannot, in my opinion, Watcher is his most vulnerable, because you got to take him from out and around whatever his protection option is. Okay, so that's the first important thing, is that you have to take him away from his protection option. The second thing that let's just say you're using barrier. The barrier needs to be down for the transformation to happen. Thanos needs to sort of be on a diagonal square so that when you put up barrier, you can surround Watcher and the barrier piece. Because if not, you're going to have a major problem. So that's our dissection of Thanos. Let's sort of ask ourselves a couple of other interesting questions that need to be asked. So the first question that we need to ask ourselves is this: is this the worst situation that can happen? Is this the worst situation that can happen? In the sense of this, is a Thanos swap in the middle of the game the worst situation that can happen in a matchup? Okay, or the other way of putting it is, if Thanos does change, is there any punishment, or is there anything that we can do to try to hinder the tactic? Okay, and so right now, I'm sort of at a loss, and the reason why I'm sort of at a loss is this: we can come in and say, hey, let's make it so that you can't just swap in the craziness, and then that the figure is worthless. At the other end, making it so that we're asking, like, hey, do we need, if we're going to engage a figure, do we need to end it in like that turn? Like, we can have an initial hit that doesn't do a lot of damage, but then can we just boom, the next turn just unload? Can we take a hit and from that major attacker, and then still the following turn unload? Okay, so those are some questions that we need to think about. The other thing that we need to ask ourselves is, excuse me, if the Thanos swap happens, could our team still win? Can our team still win? And that's another issue, because that all depends on the team that's in play, and your mechanics in play, and what you have left. It is harder, definitely. It's definitely. The next question that we would ask is Thanos the best figure for this type of situation to occur? In the sense, that I get rid of A character for B character with a swap, could there be another better option? Could there be, let's just say, another character that may not cost as much, but is also point efficient in the situation, or giving it, an additional trait or beginning, or a trait or beginning effect, or any number of things. Coming in, starting like the Disney Plus figures, you just start with equipment. Is that worth it? So those are some key elements that I would like to present. But I think the main postulate is that I think more people are going to take away from this, and sort of expounding on what we were thinking about the Watcher before, which is, are you still doing, does he really help your team open up to swaps? And not just at the beginning of the game, but throughout the game, to look at a more fluid way of having swaps occur, instead of it just being this one fashion in which at the beginning of the game what your opponent's going to do, and then you make your adaptation. So regardless of what was it? Let me see. It's not one of the Dooms. I think it is. What is it? I thought it was like the Thing Doom, who stops swaps. You don't really have to worry about that. Okay. Because since you don't have to worry about that situation, you could just sit back and Dr. Thing. I think it's Dr. Thing. Let's see. Yeah. So when revealing forces, choose an opposing sideline game element. If Dr. Thing is on starting click, the chosen sideline game element can't be brought into the game. Okay, so he gets to pick a element. And he can say no to one thing. But, all right, let's say you have a character like Batman. You could have 2 or 3 options that are still viable. And, again, one of those can be bait. And you could say, like, nobody plays Dr. Thing. When pressure gets high enough, you just like, no, you can't bring that in. And that's a reality. And I think, again, people will say like, oh, well, this will never happen or that will never happen. It's like, until you face it. Now, there are some things that are highly more probable than others. So when we start asking ourselves, like, who are or what are our primary, criteria for looking at swaps and trying to abuse it in the future, and I would argue is any character that has multiple iterations into the game. Any character that has multiple iterations into the game that has around the same type of point values that are pretty consistent. So my prime example right now is Wolverine. And the reason why I look at Wolverine is that Wolverine has several point values that he's real common to appear at. So his point values are 50, 75, 30, 50, 75, 100. So you have 4 instances of Wolverine just coming up and showing up around those point lines in the game. So let's go look at some common interactions. So we have let's not use X of Swords because that's not officially out yet, and even though it's been previewed, I really don't like using previewed material. So let's look at Avengers Fantastic Four Empire. So we look at Empire. What do we have? Number 07, Wolverine. Okay. Then we have number 52 is 50. Okay. So then we go look at our LE. It has 100 points, 30 points, and 60 points. Okay. So that's not bad. All right. So we have, let's keep going down, Rise and Fall. We have a 45 pointer, and then we have the LE, which is 100 points. Sorry for the legacy card. Okay, so we go to the Fast Forces. We have a 75 and we have a 50. We go to House of X. We have a 60. Okay, that doesn't help us too much. Oh, look, we have a 100 and look, we have a 50. Then look at the Fantastic Four set. We have a 40. That's not that great, but we also have a 75. All right, so then we go to the Fantastic Four Fast Forces. We have a 75 and a 50. All right, so right there, we automatically see several key things. Is with a character with enough depth and enough diversity, we can bring in the version or another version real easily. And let's just say by chance, I decide to go with 100-point Wolverine. Okay. So I'm going to use HC Realms. I'm going to type in my name, the name. I'm going to type in Wolverine. I'm going to type in point cost is equal to 100. Okay. And I know some people say it's like Dark Logos, you can swap in a character of less value. Yes, you can. You sort of try to want to keep it as tight as possible to maintain your value, even though it's hard to do that once you span rarity, because 100 points at common, you get a lot more at uncommon than you do at common. So, take it as for what it's worth. Okay, so I typed in, I let it be Golden Age, and I typed in 100-point Wolverine. So I have a Wolverine from Empire, Wolverine from Rise and Fall, Wolverine from House of X. So I have 3 Wolverines to look at, which is pretty good. So when we're trying to figure some things out, it makes things a lot more conducive, okay? Because I can bring in a one-to-one. Now, let's just say I have a cool character, and let's say I bring in, okay, let me look at another X-Men. Oh, okay, cool. Let's look at Bishop, because once Bishop is off of the board, once Shard's off the board, Bishop is not as great. Now, he has an X of Swords iteration, and we're not going to look at that. But let's look at Prime Bishop. Prime Bishop comes in at 40, and then we look at the House of X version being 60 points. So right there we have a bit of a problem, because this Bishop the Prime Bishop is way cheaper. And unfortunately, for us, we can't swap from Prime Bishop into normal Bishop. So standard Bishop or common Bishop, that's a better way of putting it. And so even if we did look at, let's say, X of Swords, which I really don't want to, but let's just say we did, we would only be able to get the 35-point line. But we would gain the police TA and a couple of cool traits that aren't bad. So let's go and, maybe I'll get a better example. I'm trying to also find characters. And it gets hard, because you start having to ask yourself, okay, what about characters that don't have access to swap? Okay, So that is also an issue, and I will I'll bring up, and this is something I've thought of for a while, and I haven't come back to it since my Fantastic Four review. Is Frightful Four? That Frightful Four can be a swap, but you know, no one really wants to look at that. But let's try looking at somebody. You know what? It's actually the current challenge, and I'm just sort of speaking out loud. My current challenge is every character that I would say is wow, they have multiple iterations or multiple good versions of themselves. They're on teams or keywords that already can swap in or out. And so therein sort of lies your first challenge, is that these characters can they already are on a team that can, presto changeo them into another version. So we're realistically, like, we can look at DC with Wonder Woman 80, and I have a personal favorite. So Mary Shazam. Okay, so I know some people will be thinking like, that chick old. Like, why are we looking at Mary Shazam? Okay, so we're looking at Mary Shazam for a couple of reasons. Her base form, or her uncommon, is solid. And you can look at, mystical as being your main keyword that you're basing everything off of. But when we're looking at Mary Shazam, she has charge traded, and she has flurry. And it says when Mary Shazam uses it, this turn she has free improved targeting adjacent. This character can make a ranged attack while adjacent to opposing characters. Make a ranged attack that deals 1 penetrating damage instead of normal damage. That's pretty good. Okay. So what ends up happening is what ends up happening is we have 100-point Mary Shazam, who is very, very solid and has a good dial life. And once she gets to those plasticity clicks, she's fundamentally good as dead. And her utility is a lot less. And having played her, she turns into a little bit of a glorified tie-up piece at that stage. All right. But when we go into super rare Mary Shazam, we're like, oh, we took those hits for the team. Now we're in super rare Mary Shazam. Okay, now we have a different reality, because now we are back on click 1. We're refreshed. We're ready to go. The costume goes from white to red, and we are bloody Olympians at this stage. Like, let's go. My tunic is stained with the blood of my foes as I have laid them down before me. In the heat of battle, I dyed my tunic in their blood to remember this moment. Feel free to use that as your ringtone. So what ends up happening is now we have a defend, which we really don't need at the end game. When a friendly character with the range and line of fire would be targeted by an attack, you may roll a d6, 4 through 6, place Mary Shazam adjacent to that character, and she becomes the target of the attack, even if it would be illegal. All right, so now all of a sudden we got someone that can potentially take, another hit for Watcher, which I didn't think about previously. And also, more importantly, you get hit and she takes damage, she deals out mystics. She has, long story short, we're all superheroes. Charge, but do not have speed. So her first 3 clicks are really good for that ability. And she could just, boom, jet downfield 12 squares and light somebody up. And I think people will underestimate the fact that 1 TK is enough for Mary Shazam. And then she also has Shazam! Once per turn, when Mary Shazam hits an opposing character with a close attack, after resolution, she may make a close attack using Quake and must choose to target all adjacent characters. So right there, we get a little bit more oomph and follow up. And you have a character that, in all honesty, most people said was, including myself, that she is worse than her uncommon version. Now, her uncommon version is just superior in all forms and fashions. And now we're at a situation where this character has some degree of life. Now, when we also look at the Watcher, you can say, hey, Dark Logos, I want to be on theme. I don't like that Mary Shazam or that Bishop or that Wolverine jank. I want to be on theme. So give me some of that theme goodness. Well, there's a couple of things. So we have Cosmic, and we've already talked about Thanos. There are a few other characters that could be useful depending on your situation if we're talking about Cosmic. So one of them, so we'll just go into it. The first one is the Watcher could swap the Watcher out. But actually, no, not this Watcher. I take that back. Watcher couldn't swap the Watcher out because the other ones are more points. My bad. I was thinking, yeah, I messed up on that one. All right, so in our first one that we have is Thor. Thor is an easy character to swap. Has multiple names. He has Cosmic, Deity, and Warrior. He definitely has that. Captain Marvel is another one that you can swap. Monica Rambeau is one that you could swap. Let's see. I kid you not. I'm literally looking at. So you look at War of the Realms, and it's like Thanos. It's like Thanos, Thor. Okay. And you're like, yeah. And then you go and look at Avengers, Fantastic Four, Empire. And it's like Thor, Thanos, yeah. So Deadpool is another character that could be swapped. Invisible Woman is another character that can be swapped. Silver Surfer is another character that can be swapped. Fire Lord is another character to be swapped. That I know you just have multiple versions. But again, for Invisible Woman, that's more than likely not going to happen. It's more than likely not going to happen. But again, if you want to do it that way, you can. And I think I start to understand why they didn't label it Uatu, but that's okay. I think, yeah. So, definitely there's an Apocalypse option. And, yeah, more Captain Marvel, Fire-Lord. Doctor Doom. But Doctor Doom fundamentally has its own swaps that it could do. So it's not necessarily top tier. So let's go back, and that's our Cosmic options. So that's not bad. So let's go ahead and look at our Deity options. So when we, I forgot, I didn't even look at DC. That's just bad. That's bad work there, Dark Logos. We have Star Sapphire. That's it. So. All right, so let's go into Deity. And let's see. We got Thor again. We have Loki, which is viable. More Thor, more Loki. More Thor. More Thor. Thor. So, Thor. Silver Surfer. Okay, Silver Surfer's there. Magneto from House of X. I didn't know that. So that is a pretty nice situation, but he's a swap in and of himself. So I don't know. That can be some weird situation that you set up where you're able to get 4 other characters. Let me see. Let me just make sure before I start spouting things that aren't true. Nope, that's not Swap Magneto. That is Krakoan Revival Magneto. Never mind. Let's see who else is on this list here. Yeah, I think that's it for Marvel. Then we're gonna go down to DC. Yeah. All right. Um, I don't think there's like Cersei. Yeah, Cersei. Uh, I would say Wonder Woman, but truth of the matter is, Wonder Woman has her own swap mechanic already just built into Wonder Woman. But actually, I take that back. This is the champion of Themyscira, the one that comes with the sword. Nope, never mind. Never mind. She can't swap. Never mind. You have legacy Wonder Womans that you could swap. That would be, yeah, I think that would be pretty interesting. The fact that you could start with one of these Wonder Women and then swap them out for another Wonder Woman, so that you could get like the equipment drop off of them if that's something that you desire. So there's not much to mine there. So let's go into the last keyword, Herald. Um, yeah, that's like a rough one because we have the Destroyer, and that's not going anywhere. Then we got Thor. We have Human Torch, which again is not. That's not good. Fire Lord shows up, but yeah, yeah, Fire Lord shows up. More Silver Surfer, Silver Surfer. Yeah, that's it for modern. And then when we go to DC, I don't. Yeah, there's Star Sapphire and Green Lantern, and Green Lantern will be for Golden because yeah, there's not multiple Green Lantern characters named Green Lantern in Wonder Woman 80th anniversary. So, I think overall, like when we're looking at what he brings, he's going to be off theme for 90% of the time. As much as you want to say, like, Dark Logos, I'm looking for that cosmic goodness. Like, that's going to be your best bet. Is cosmic deity, is you have the ability to adopt him into keywords, if if that's a thing. Um, and I think maybe Latveria. I think Latveria can do it, because there's the Chase Doom. Um, is it Annihilating Conquer? Oh, yeah. I think, nope, it's not Annihilating Conquer. Again, people, be a little bit forgiving because, oh, no, it is Annihilating Conquer. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I thought it was, I knew it was that. All right, cool. Conqueror of Timelines during Force Construction, friendly characters with the cosmic future and past keywords gain the Latveria keyword. So, right there, just, you're able to bring him into Latveria. So that is your other theme option. And I think that's going to give you the most comprehensive team to be useful. Yeah, I think that's just going to give you the most comprehensive team to be useful. And you're going to have a very hodgepodge team anyway. And now you're adding a swap to your Latveria team. So yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this character, in all honesty, or this figure, in all honesty, has gone from to okay, this is just dumb, all because of this ruling. And I think that's not a good place for us to be in the game where something that absurd can happen. I don't, and again, like I said, I don't know why the rules team decided that this was a good idea to give figures the option to functionally gain 100 clicks of health back. But it comes back where I will also say is longevity has its place. So I was the main one complaining about split and merge when it happened, because split and merge was not a thought through mechanic at all, because it allowed for you to have you could have a very beat up character in the duo, and then take that beat up character with the duo, initiate the merge with the healthy character, and you would be on click one. Okay, so it's like, hey, here is I forgot the piece, but let's do something simple. Thor and Loki. I go and I have Loki chilling in the back, and then I have Thor up there fighting. I have Thor gets like almost dead. My opponent fails to kill him. He takes his action and goes next to Loki. Loki initiates merge. Once Loki initiates merge, they turn into the Thor and Loki duo. But since Loki wasn't attacking, he hasn't been hit, there isn't any major problems. Thor and Loki appears on click one. Okay, so once you merge, I think it carried over tokens, I forgot. Then let's just say you didn't carry over tokens. When you split, it carried over tokens, I know that much. You take an action to split. Once you split, both Thor and Loki have a token, but now Thor is back on click one. So you fundamentally heal Thor. Let's just say it's a long dial Thor. The hammer is hanging low. He's like, yeah, I got the armor. I'm ready to pound you out with my hammer. Let's just say like he's 10 clicks, and you got him to click 10. You just heal 10 clicks in 2 actions. That's ridiculous. So this is the same thing or worse, just depending on how you play it. Okay, you have a long dial character, and that long dial character is popular. It showed up multiple times in the history of the game, or especially in modern. Boom, you hit it. Yeah, you think it's about to be dead, then boom, here comes the backup version. It's frustrating point denial. And again, not all teams are built to go and take out Watcher quickly. And I think as well, it's something that makes people think carefully in their team design of like, okay, now I have to go and kill Watcher. How am I going to do that? What does that mean? How am I going to solve for Watcher? And shout out to one of my teammates who did play Broadcast, Dan. He's like, I faced 2 swap Thanoses, and I beat both of them, but gosh, this sucks to fight. It's rough. And so that's sort of my comeback is this is rough. This is not a good thing for the game. I don't think this is going to get fixed before Nats. It might get put on the watch list, and it might get evaluated afterwards. But until then, I don't see it being an issue. And I think I don't see it getting fixed. So yeah, like I know I said like I'm done talking about Thanos, but this is the iteration that's just more frustrating than anything else, because it's like right when you're thinking like, all right. you have gone Super Saiyan in your team building, and you do the whole Goku line. It's like, ally to good, nightmare to you. You do that whole thing, and all of a sudden, one last time, Frieza says, it's like it's like, you think this is my final form? And he goes freaking gold on you. Anyway, that's it for today's show. I appreciate you all for listening. I really must say, I I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say. I'm going to keep that one in my mouth. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to keep that one in my mouth. But I'd like to thank you all for listening. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com if you wish to opine. Keep it piffy. Keep it interesting. Keep it awesome, baby. Let me know what you think about this whole Final Form situation. Are we in Boo Saga? Or are we in Frieza Saga? Like, which version of it is it? Next, if I'm trying to still get Twitter, the Twitter has been lost in outer space for I don't know how long. I've been trying to get stuff lined up on the YouTube end. It's not. Twitter is he's lost in space. So go Danger Will Robinson on that one, and if anybody